Tonight, the voting's over in Iran, but a new battle's beginning as both incumbent President Ahmadinejad and his main challenger claim victory. I'm Maggie Rodriguez. Also tonight,
there is nothing wrong with your television.
America switches to digital TV. Got the picture? More than 2 million homes may not. Bullying, it's become an epidemic, and now pediatricians are being called in to treat it. And a budding friendship that had a most unlikely beginning in Steve Hartman's Assignment America.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening. Katie's on assignment. The entire world is watching the presidential election in Iran for signs of where that country is headed. Tonight, the voting's over, but both major candidates are claiming victory. It's a battle between a hardline incumbent who's antagonized the United States for years and an opponent promising change. Elizabeth Palmer is in Tehran tonight. Elizabeth, good evening.
This election has been a wild ride all the way, and it's remained too close to call right to the very end. In fact, today when we were going around from polling station to polling station, we found candidates so dominated whole neighborhoods that it was just impossible to get any sense of which way the vote was going.
First, the challenger, Mir Hossein Mousavi, claimed in spite of dirty tricks at the poll, evidence showed that he was the winner. An hour later, sources in President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's camp claimed that he'd won. Both sides are clearly digging in, even though official results aren't expected until tomorrow. When voting began this morning, the two main candidates appeared to be neck and neck, and Iranian voters were determined to have their say from the moment the doors opened, especially young people who make up 70% of the population. Bobby Batman-Gelij left Iran for the U.S. 30 years ago, but came back for the first time today to vote.
I think it's perhaps the tipping point for the youth in Iran.
In what sense?
I think they have an opportunity to cast a vote and perhaps for the first time make a difference.
Millions of young people are desperate for more freedom. And they also hope a shift in politics here, as in the U.S., may open a door to a new era, a sentiment echoed today at the White House.
Whoever ends up winning the election in Iran, the fact that there's been a robust debate hopefully will help advance our ability to engage them in new ways.
And I'm really optimistic about Mr. Obama. He's a really good guy, especially for the relationship of Iran and America.
Since 8 o'clock this morning, this has been the scene outside polling stations across the country. Iranians have turned out to vote in record numbers in the most bitterly fought political contest in the country's history.
Against a background of frenzied campaign rallies, hardline President Ahmadinejad and his main reformist opponent Mousavi traded charges of lying, mismanagement and corruption. Today, opposition officials said they're worried that Mousavi's win wouldn't be recognized by the government, and millions of his frustrated young supporters would turn on the regime. Mohsen Mirdamadi is an opposition strategist.
I can't imagine what will happen, but I think it will be a difficult situation.
Dangerous?
I hope not.
All of Iran is on edge tonight, waiting to see which candidate's victory claim the official numbers support.
Now, there are some early returns coming in. The Iranian Electoral Commission has announced it's counted about 20% of the votes, and of that, they're saying President Ahmadinejad has got about 80%. Now, even if that's from the rural areas, which are his base, it is a startling, I would say shocking statistic. Maggie?
And Liz, it certainly conflicts with the images that we've been seeing all week there of tens of thousands of people taking to the streets for the opposition. How skeptical should we be of these claims?
Oh, I think they're going to be not only skeptical but angry and probably want to hit the streets. But we already hear there may be a crackdown to prevent any large public gatherings tomorrow to stave off exactly that kind of thing. Maggie?
Elizabeth Palmer in Tehran, Iran. Thank you, Liz. Like Iran, North Korea has been moving ahead defiantly with a nuclear program. Today, the UN Security Council slapped the North with tough new sanctions as punishment for conducting nuclear tests. So what happens next? Here's national security correspondent David Martin.
The resolution passed unanimously by the Security Council enacts the toughest sanctions ever against North Korea and significantly increases the chances of a confrontation. For openers, America's ambassador to the UN predicted North Korea will openly defy the resolution by launching more missiles or even conducting another nuclear test.
It would not be a surprise if North Korea reacted to this very tough sanctions regime in a fashion that would be further provocation and further destabilizing.
The resolution authorizes the U.S. Navy to stop and search North Korean vessels suspected of carrying arms.
We are prepared to confront that vessel and seek to board it consensually.
That last word, consensually, is key. A ship can only be boarded if North Korea gives its permission.
Under no circumstances should there be the use of force or the threat of the use of force.
If, as expected, North Korea refuses to let its ship be boarded, then the resolution says it must direct the vessel to enter a port for inspection. The resolution does not say what would happen if North Korea refuses to do that. CBS News consultant Juan Zarate says the U.S. and North Korea are entering uncharted waters.
This is a volatile time where it's very unclear how far the North Koreans are willing to go.
Look at the route North Korean vessels take to get to the Middle East. They can't get there without stopping somewhere to refuel. And under the resolution, no country can provide fuel to a North Korean ship suspected of carrying arms. That's if the resolution is enforced. But with sanctions, that's always a big if. Maggie?
David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you, David. In this country, it's D-Day, as in digital. Broadcast television is completing its transition from analog to digital. Nearly half of TV stations already made that switch before today's deadline. The other 974 are doing it today. But it's estimated more than 2 million homes with analog sets and old-fashioned antennas still don't have the converter box they need. Here's science and technology correspondent Daniel Seberg.
Atop the Empire State Building, engineers from one of the country's biggest broadcasters, WCBS, pulled the plug on its analog transmitter.
Sometimes it gets fuzzy when you switch the channels like this.
For 60 years, analog has delivered classic TV programs and brought history into our living rooms.
Here we go.
But by midnight, analog itself will be history. Digital will deliver clearer pictures and high-definition signals. The transition got a big boost after 9/11, when emergency crews demanded and will get some of the abandoned analog airwaves to upgrade aging communication systems.
You can still keep your sets working.
But the transition was plagued with delays, taking 18 years and $2 billion of taxpayer money. And still, as many as 2 million homes, many of them in areas with large non-English speaking populations, could wake up Saturday to something like this.
Well, think about it. It's a massive technological program being run by the government. There's a problem right there.
Sets connected to cable or satellite are unaffected, as are most newer TVs. Older sets with a proper antenna will still work, but they'll need a $50 to $60 converter box.
This is gonna go to your TV.
Neil Dick used a $40 government coupon to help buy his.
I mean, if I don't do this, I won't have any television service.
Help centers are fielding calls, and thousands of technicians, including volunteer firefighters, are helping people set up their TVs.
We know there will be some disruption this weekend and over the coming weeks, but it won't be for our not trying.
One hidden problem, in fringe areas, analog often delivered a snowy, hazy, but viewable image like this. With a weak digital signal, it's likely to simply freeze up, like this. One group is already touting the next TV frontier. The cell phone industry paid billions for once public airwaves, hoping you'll pay for TV delivered.
If you or someone you know is not prepared for the switch, the FCC has set up a hotline to get help. The number is 1-888-CALL-FCC. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, bullying. It may not be a disease, but doctors are trying to cure it. And up next, a CBS News investigation. Were crimes committed as investors in AIG lost hundreds of millions of dollars? If you lost a big piece of your retirement nest egg in the Wall Street meltdown, you have plenty of company. But was it all market forces or something more sinister? Some firefighters who lost plenty in the collapse of AIG are saying they are victims of outright fraud. Here's Chief Investigative Correspondent Armin Katayan.
Police and firemen in Jacksonville, Florida say they could have swallowed the $3 million loss in their pension fund until they discovered AIG executives may have dealt in deception, leading to the collapse of the company's stock.
They're corporate criminals and boardroom bandits. It was a financial house of cards in a windstorm.
Today, the Jacksonville Police and Fire Pension Fund is part of a massive civil lawsuit involving tens of billions of dollars and more than 700,000 government employees and investors across the country.
Our members surely want them to be held accountable if there was any wrongdoing.
The class action complaint charges former CEO Martin Sullivan and ex-chief financial officer Stephen Benzinger, among others, conducted a campaign to obscure the true risks facing the company. And they aren't the only ones pointing a finger at the very top of AIG. CBS News has learned that officials at PricewaterhouseCoopers, AIG's independent auditor, are cooperating with Justice Department and SEC investigations. Specifically, the auditors have told federal investigators they were repeatedly denied access to key information and employees by senior AIG executives. And it wasn't until the first week of November 2007, after weeks of stonewalling, that AIG executives revealed that 6 investment banks were demanding at least $3 billion to cover potential losses tied to risky mortgages.
AIG's overall portfolio is...
Yet a month later, on a December conference call with investors, CEO Sullivan downplayed any problems.
The probability that it will sustain an economic loss is close to zero.
There's no risk to the company, no risk to the investors, no risk in the underlying assets. False, false, false.
Sullivan, who denied any wrongdoing at a House hearing, did not respond to requests for comment from CBS News. As for Benzinger, we tracked him down at his summer home outside New York City.
I'm not talking about this.
Do you think you should have known? Was there a fiduciary duty on your part to...
I'm sorry, I'm not talking about this.
Thanks.
Documents show Benzinger earned more than $20 million as CFO and could receive $10 million more in severance money, while thousands of middle-class men and women who protect just one American city have seen 70 years worth of their pension money go up in smoke. Armin Katayan, CBS News, Jacksonville, Florida.
Former President George H.W. Bush turned 85 today. He turned and he jumped. Mr. Bush made good on his promise to mark his birthday with a skydive, just as he did when he turned 75 and again at 80. It was a tandem jump with a member of the Army's Golden Knights. The 41st president said that he's trying to set an example for other seniors.
But just because you're an old guy, you don't have to sit around drooling in the corner. Get out and do something. Get out and enjoy life.
The entire Bush family was enjoying life at Kennebunkport, Maine for the occasion, including former President George W. and former Florida Governor Jeb. The senior Mr. Bush says that he will jump again when he turns 90. And we believe him. Coming up next, battling bullies. There's a new sheriff in town, your kid's doctor. Bullying is a major problem in this country, and now for the first time, America's pediatricians have guidelines for dealing with it. Nearly 6 million children are either bullies or have been bullied. That's nearly 30% of kids in grades 6 through 10. Here's Kelly Wallace.
The YouTube generation did not invent bullying, but has made it more visible. Thousands of no-holds-barred videos are posted online, and it appears the violence in them is getting worse.
What's that?
8th grader Daniel Warburton can relate.
Are people getting it about bullying?
Not really, because they think it's just something that happens.
13-year-old Daniel has been relentlessly bullied since the 4th grade. First, it was name-calling.
Names like faggot, gay. They would like use very vile words.
Then last year on the football field, it got physical. Daniel was repeatedly tackled by 7 teammates to the point of unconsciousness.
They just left him there. And he was so afraid to say anything that by the time the coaches got down to the field for practice, he just got up and went through the whole practice.
To help kids like Daniel, the American Academy of Pediatrics has come out with new recommendations for pediatricians, which include increasing parents, administrators, and teachers' awareness of bullying.
The biggest misconception in this country is that bullying is normative behavior, that this is just kids being kids, and that it really is no big deal.
Wright cites a study which found that in 2/3 of school shootings from West Paducah, Kentucky to Columbine, the shooters had been repeatedly bullied. Another study found 60% of bullies in grades 6 through 9 had at least one criminal conviction by age 24. At the same time, the American Academy of Pediatrics says doctors, parents, and teachers shouldn't just focus on the bully and the bullied, but should target the bystanders who witness the bullying.
There's a school in Oceanside.
That's what teachers are doing at this Long Island elementary school.
Physical bullying is when you physically hurt someone.
Students learn how to stand up to bullies.
I saw somebody being bullied on the playground, and I told the bully how she felt and how I felt, and the bully stopped bullying her.
Fight the crime. Invest in kids.
Daniel made this video about his bullying experience, which is now on YouTube.
Try to change something, like tell people that's not right.
His therapy is music. It's helped him realize what the Pediatrics Academy hopes others will get, that he's not the troubled one, the bully is. Kelly Wallace, CBS News, Newburgh, New York.
Coming up next, they once fought like dogs. Now they're friends for life. Steve Hartman's Assignment America. We end tonight with 2 men who've become the best of friends. They first met a few years back in the military, but they didn't exactly hit it off right away. Professional differences got in the way. Steve Hartman tells us they were trying to kill each other.
A lot of reunions are heartwarming, but the one you're about to see may actually renew your faith in mankind.
On the ground. To be able to actually meet the guy I've fought a life and death duel with, you know. There he is. To be able to put all that behind us and somehow find something positive out of that. It was the right thing to do.
This is Nguyen Hong Mi and Dan Cherry's first meeting as friends. Their third overall.
Welcome to America.
The first 2 were just under dramatically different circumstances. Their initial meeting was the subject of a History Channel documentary. Combining computer animation with actual cockpit voice recordings, it told the story of one of the most dramatic dogfights of the Vietnam War.
There's a MiG, right? MiG-21. Go get him, Dan.
Pilot Dan Cherry had engaged a North Vietnamese MiG fighter, and after a prolonged cat and mouse,
I was not going to let this guy get away.
Cherry fired the Sparrow missile that would give him not only his one and only shoot-down of the war,
I got him.
but his first glimpse of his future friend, a very lucky North Vietnamese pilot named Nguyen Hong Mi.
Headed home.
Flash forward 32 years.
There she was, sitting right there in a grassy field.
In 2004, Dan found his old plane outside a VFW hall near Dayton, Ohio.
All these memories came flooding back to me. The first thing I started thinking about was the fate of the MiG pilot. I wonder if he really did survive. When he hit the ground, was he okay? Was he injured? Did he have a family?
After an exhaustive, unproductive search, Dan heard about a TV show in Vietnam called The Separation Never Seems to Have Existed.
That's the name of the show?
That's the way it translates.
Is it like This Is Your Life?
Exactly.
Dan sent a letter to the show, which led to their second meeting.
We had a very firm handshake, and he says, "Welcome to my country. I'm glad to see that you're in good health, and I hope that we can be friends."
After the show, Hong Mi invited Dan back to his home, let him hold his grandson.
It was a special thing, and I thought to myself, how quickly has trust developed between the two of us?
Which brings us to their third meeting. Just a few weeks ago, Hong Mi came to visit Dan at his home in Bowling Green, Kentucky. First order of business, fawning over Dan's grandchildren. Hong Mi also helped cut the ribbon at Bowling Green's Aviation Heritage Park, new home of Dan's old plane. Obviously, Hong Mi bears no bitterness, although he doesn't like the name of Dan's book. I never considered Dan and I to be enemies, he said. I had to fulfill my duty, and Dan had to fulfill his. Fortunately, today they share the same sense of duty.
We hope that the fact that we've been able to reconcile our differences might somehow help Vietnam veterans on both sides.
Both sides of the war, and all corners of the world. Steve Hartman, CBS News, Bowling Green, Kentucky.
What a story. And that does it for the CBS Evening News for tonight. Jeff Glor will be here tomorrow. For Katie Couric, I'm Maggie Rodriguez. I'll see you next week on The Early Show. Good night.